You are listening to the REI Mastermind Podcast. Join JD as he chats with industry-leading real estate experts and professionals. We learn from their experience and uncover the strategies to their success that we can implement into our own businesses, and we can drive immediate results today. They share their experience and wisdom as we build a foundation to our own success. This is the REI Mastermind Network.
We have Stephen Pesavento on. Stephen, I really appreciate your time here today. And if you want more information with Stephen, because he provides a great podcast that I really would recommend everybody check out, called the Investor Mindset Podcast. But Stephen has a variety of experience here, including not only mindset and the success principles that he promotes on that show, but 200 plus properties purchased over the past 3 years. In fact, he's flipped over 200 houses over the past 3 years, commercial real estate investing, raising private capital to do some of this. The experience here is endless, and I really would recommend everybody check out your show. And I appreciate your time as we dive into a couple things. So thanks, Stephen.
Excited to be here, excited to dive in, and looking forward to a great episode.
So I'm always interested. Let's start off with how you got into this.
Yeah. So, growing up, when I was a kid, I wanted to be one of two things. I either wanted to be a chef like Emeril Lagasse, or I wanted to renovate properties like Bob Vila. And after a career in management consulting and then technology, I kept looking for that passionate path. I realized that there was something out there that could really meet all those needs, but I wasn't finding it in the corporate world. And believe me, I work with a lot of clients on the passive investing side, helping them invest into real estate while working in their full-time career, while they're making great money. And it's not always the case. You can find great work that really fulfills you. But I was on this journey, and eventually all that HGTV paid off as I got into real estate and, started flipping a ton of houses, 75 houses that first year, and flipped over 200 within about 3 years. And what was great about that was that I ended up learning a ton about not only the mindset of success, but also what it takes to be able to go out and create a business from scratch. And, fast forward, now we're buying, $10 to $40 million multifamily commercial buildings with our investor partners. And I do high performance coaching with a number of clients who are looking to take things to another level. And our business has just changed and shifted. And that's what I think is so powerful about learning some of the stuff we're going to be talking about today, is because with that level of clarity, all of a sudden some really great things can come from it.
Well, let's start there. That sounds like part of those principles of success that you talk about. When you define that clarity, how do you go about doing that, or how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think when it comes to getting clear on what you want and why you want it, it's one of the first and most important steps to being able to have success, because without that clarity, you're going to end up floating through life. You're going to end up allowing other people's goals, visions, and desires end up being the director or the driver of what you're actually experiencing in your life, versus sitting down and asking yourself some questions over and over again until you start getting clear on what those answers are. And a part of getting clear, and a part of creating goals, and a part of creating a vision is also deciding. It's also deciding that this is the direction you're going to go. And what's great about this is that anybody can do it. You can wake up today in a terrible job, in a terrible relationship, in a terrible place financially, and you can decide to change it. Now, in that decision, does it immediately change? No. But if you decide to make that change and you start taking action repeatedly over and over again, you can be in a very good spot. The same is true if you're making $1 million a year and you happen to be unhappy, or you happen to be looking to create some other kind of avenue of income. You can make a decision to start investing in real estate, and you can decide that you're going to start getting some of those benefits. And that's what's so great, is when it comes down to it, it's a process of asking questions. It's a process of brainstorming. And then it's really going out there and experiencing what life has to offer and what that actually brought you with that new vision, and you continue to tweak it and change it over time. But eventually you get in this place where you're doing this automatically, consistently, and you really start to show up from a much stronger place. And that's what you'll notice if you listen to the Investor Mindset podcast, the show that I host that we've had a couple hundred episodes. And what's great about speaking to and talking with really successful people is you start to notice the way that they think. And that's something I'll just share a definition for everybody. Mindset is extremely popular. It's important, but it's often thought of as a silver bullet. People think that, mindset is going to solve everything, or people wrongly think that mindset isn't going to benefit them at all. But the truth is, mindset is just the thoughts and beliefs that end up leading to the actions we take, and therefore the outcomes we experience. And what's positive and great about that is that by changing the way that we think, we can actually change the actions that we're taking and how we're experiencing the world. So really on the other side of that clarity is going to be that action, those beliefs, those things that you're going to do that are going to end up leading you to be able to have the good life.
Yeah, I'm sure my audience is getting a little tired of me saying it, but we as humans, we typically will respond to pain and not pleasure. And without that proper clarity and those actionable items that you're talking about to override that, you're probably not going to take the necessary action.
Yeah, you really are not going to. And, we talk about these 5 success principles. These are lessons that I learned and really discovered after interviewing hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and studying very successful people. And we'll talk through a couple of those today. I'll be able to share a resource where people can get access to all of them and some exercises that can help get some clarity. But one of those key success principles is that they see challenges as opportunities. They see problems as an opportunity to create great things from. And so what's great about making the shift, about coming at it from that perspective, is that challenges are happening all the time. There's no doubt about it. The world is changing constantly. Other people are changing constantly. And the way that we're interacting with those people can create challenges, and we can really create a business around what challenges we're experiencing. And a great way to look at this is when you think about investing in real estate, what are we really doing? Oftentimes, we're looking at a problem that someone else is dealing with. They've owned a property for a very long time. The tenants aren't paying. The property needs to be updated. Or we're seeing something that somebody doesn't even see a problem, but we see that it could actually be better than it is. And we're coming in there, we're adding value, we're making these changes. And the result is profit for our investors. At VonFinch Capital, this is what we do. And what's great about understanding this concept is that it can really change the way that you interact with the world. I mean, tell me, Jack, have you seen that yourself?
Yeah, it's quite, what's really ringing true to me here is what you just said regarding, that creating those goals and getting that clarity without action. It's not going to get you anywhere. And we have been preached to or taught over and over again how important mindset is, but mindset isn't really anything unless it's generating that action.
Yeah. Well, mindset, again, is just the thoughts and beliefs. So you could have shitty mindset, or you could have mindset that does not serve you. And therefore, it's not generating action because you don't believe that something's possible. You don't believe that this action is going to bring you where you want it to go. Right. So at the core, very successful people often think, well, I'm already in a really great place. What I really need to focus on is strategy. And that may be true. The strategy, the actions that you're going to take, those tactics can be really important. But even when you're extremely successful, there's always another level. It's always coming from that place of growth. And when you can come from that place, it can be much more appealing, enticing. And the whole reason you're going to be driven to do it is because you start to realize that there is that other level, and that's going to bring great things for you and for your business and your family and all those things.
And then what I think is also interesting is that you mentioned that a lot of those successful entrepreneurs that you were talking to see these as challenges or opportunities. Unfortunately, I think we live in a society right now that will just kind of see it as defeat and just kind of leave it at that. We don't see that it actually driving that positive action.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest things that I think can help alleviate that is by surrounding yourself with the right people. When you can listen to shows like the Investor Mindset, like this show, and you can start hearing that other people have been through these challenges, other people have been on that same path, and that they've been able to navigate to the place that you desire to go to, then you can start to build confidence. It can start to reinforce those beliefs, and you can actually start to see yourself move past failure, move past a difficulty, move past something that isn't serving you. But if you're stuck in a group or around family or friends that don't have those beliefs, that aren't supporting you, then it can be very difficult to believe that you actually can move past that and be able to live and show up from a beautiful place in a beautiful state. Now, at the end of the day, it always comes down to you. You are 100% accountable and responsible for everything that happens in your life. That doesn't mean that things are good, and that doesn't mean that it's always your fault, but it does mean you're accountable for it. And we can come from that place of saying that I am responsible for the way that I'm showing up, regardless of what's happening externally. Then we're in a much more powerful place, actually, because that means that we can change it. That means that we have the power to be able to influence how we're interpreting or experiencing or seeing the world. And we can actually, do something about it. We can get coaching, we can get mentorship, we can change our peer group. And all of that is going to end up leading to the place where we actually can rise above it. And I think it would be really powerful for people who are interested in diving deeper into some of these principles to head over to investormindset.com/success. You can grab a copy of the 5 success principles, and we'll be walking you through, some of these key things, these ways of thinking. And you can ask yourself, hey, how can I apply these in my own life? And, you can grab that at investormindset.com/success, like I said. But the key thing to remember as we're talking through some of these concepts is you may have heard this before. You may have even taken action and done this before. But the question is, are you doing it consistently? And are you doing it right this moment? The answer is, for most of us, there's an opportunity for us to grow, to reapply some of these strategies and to be able to be in a much stronger and better place. And that's really what I'm focused on. That's what my clients are focused on. And that's what I encourage you guys, everyone who's listening, to focus on, is asking yourself that question: what can I be grateful for about right now? And then how can I take action and move forward? Because if you're a real estate investor and you're just getting started and you're looking to be an operator to go flip houses or buy rentals, maybe you're looking to BRRRR or turnkey, or maybe you're somebody who has capital and you're looking to invest it passively, at the end of the day, it's absolutely critical that you're coming at this from the right perspective, that you're coming at it from a place ready to learn and grow so that you can actually learn the skills necessary to succeed. And mindset's only a piece of that. And we're just touching on a piece of it today. But there's a lot of skills that you have to learn, and it comes. You really only get to that place when you start thinking from the right, that right foundational position.
Sure. So before we move on to the next principle that you're going to bring up, can you give me maybe an example or of one of your clients or students that changed their perspective or mindset on this category regarding the opportunity that these troubles provided and they turned something around?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, right? Because like I said, problems are all around us all the time. They're actually a great thing. It's shifting that belief that the problem is a money-making opportunity. Without it, we wouldn't really have businesses, because we're really in the business of solving problems. So I've got a phenomenal client. He runs a real estate company of his own. And in the last year, he's been able to be in a position where he's doubled the amount of income that he's been able to produce as a result of shifting some of these ways of thinking. But one of those core ways was he was running this business, and he's going out and finding great properties, and he's creating great opportunities for investors. And in the process, he's realizing that it's becoming tougher and tougher to find deals that pencil. And in the process, he's realizing that his investors and clients are having higher and higher expectations. But what's actually great about that is that means there is even more competition, which means there's even more drive for people to be able to buy those deals or to be able to invest in those deals. And so the shift in his thinking was recognizing that if it's getting tougher, that can actually work out great for our business, because it can lead to us being able to offer things at either a higher price, if you think about it from a place of selling, or offer them at a lower return profile if you think of it from a place of investing. So by recognizing what was happening, his quote problem in the industry, the fact that competition was increasing, actually led to a great opportunity for him to change the way he priced his product and ended up leading it to it being much more profitable per deal. And so that was great for everybody involved. Of course, all people, all clients, everyone wants to pay the lowest amount and get the most value. But by doing this, he was able to build a stronger business and be able to provide more and more deals to people.
Sure. Well, can we touch on one more?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones we touched on was knowing what you want and why you want it. So we talked a little bit about why that's important. But what's below the surface is why you want to know what it is that you want, because that why acts as a fuel. And then once you have that what and that clear why, you know that you want to invest in real estate. You know that you want to be an operator. You know that you want to be passive. And you know the reason why is because you want more freedom, flexibility. You want to have more fun. You want to do these things. Then you need to sit down and actually create this plan, a map. Understand where you're at today. Where am I currently operating? What skills do I have? And then, of course, bridge the gap to where you want to go, that vision that you have. And that map is going to be a guiding post for you. It's going to be able to show you, hey, I'm on the right track and trajectory to be able to reach my goals. And it's something you can check in on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis so that you can understand, am I actually achieving what I want to? So many people set goals and they never create a plan. They never pull out the map and actually decide how they're going to get or what route they're going to use to get where they want to go. And then they're disappointed that they didn't arrive at that final location like they had hoped, right? It's a huge challenge. And one of the big things, another principle that's really key, is that it comes down to having great partners, mentors, and coaches. Partners are people who have aligned interests. Those could be investors, those could be other operators, those could be mentors and coaches that really believe in you and are invested in your future. And the reason why you want to have great coaches around you is because as an operator, as someone who's out in the world looking to create a better life, you need someone who can look from the outside and have this perspective that you can't have, that can ask you those hard questions and be able to challenge you on assumptions at times where you really need to be able to make that shift. Because if you set clear goals and you're mapping your path and trajectory, a coach might be able to see something on that map that you didn't. That might be able to get you there faster. They might be able to make an introduction to a resource. They might be able to ask you a question that's going to help you end up realizing what's possible. So those are a couple of the key things that I think really make the biggest difference in people's ability to achieve massive amounts of success. And it's extremely key, whether you're looking to be an active operator, somebody who's out there managing flips or managing multifamily buildings or owning rentals, or whether you want to be a true investor and invest passively and put your capital to work, you're going to need, and it's going to be beneficial for you to have some support. And that third party outside support, someone who's not a part of your family, not a part of your company, can be really critical to helping you get where you want to go.
Sure. This goes back to something that I've been saying for quite a while. If you just think about it, or just dream about it, it remains a dream. It doesn't actually have those actionable steps. If you put it on paper, that's when it becomes a target, something that you can focus on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think here's like a great example of why it's so key to go through this process. I started out my career in real estate by flipping a ton of houses. We built a very successful business. We had raised tens of millions of dollars. We'd cycled that through. We'd delivered phenomenal returns for our investors, and people were very happy. And we were, doing 75 houses a year. It's a pretty good business. But what we'd ended up realizing, and what I realized, was that the goals that I set were unclear initially. I had gone into this business with the goal of getting started in real estate investing, with the goal of making a living by doing real estate investing, and with a goal of being able to prove to myself that I had the capability to be able to do that. So I went out and I created this business, and I had some great partners and great team members, and we built a team of 15 people. We're operating in 2 different states, all flipping all these houses remotely. Absolutely great business. But ended up realizing that the actual goal that I was going for, which I always knew the whole time, was to be able to create long-term passive income, to be able to build a business that is not location dependent, and to be able to build one that supports both me, my family, and all of my clients over the long term. I realized I was in the wrong business. I took a look around and realized that the customer I was serving, my ideal client, wasn't the customer I really wanted to serve for the next 10 years, let alone the next 20. And so I kind of hit this point where we realized we had spent all of this time, all of this effort, creating this company, creating this business, creating these systems. And we had gotten to this place where it wasn't in alignment. And so the biggest lesson to take away from this is that there's no problem in shifting when you realize that you're out of alignment. But think about how much more powerful it can be if you can spend time consistently getting clear on what you actually want and why you want it, and then create actions, businesses, investments, hiring people, coaches, all these things that are going to support you getting to where you actually want to go. Because the business we're operating and running now supports us and serves our mission so much more smoothly. But we really had to go through this whole process to end up learning and deciding that we had essentially set some goals that weren't truly in alignment with the ultimate outcome, the true reason why we were building this business. Can you resonate with that, Jack?
Yeah. In fact, this is something this is kind of the tagline to my podcast, is the fact that you can either put in the 10,000 hours and make that investment, or find somebody who has made that time investment and learn from them. It kind of leads me to the question, which I think is on a lot of people's minds, are like, what are some of the questions you should be asking before you engage a coach or a mentor?
Yeah. So some of the questions you want to be asking to yourself is, again, I'm going to repeat myself, but what do you want and why do you want it? So when you can come from that place of knowing what you're going after, really easy to start identifying who can help get you there. And so you want to think to yourself, well, what skill sets, abilities, experience would help me achieve what I want to achieve? What am I looking for in a coach? And so one of the things that I recommend is, first, you want to be aligned on your values. What do you believe? And is this person living in that belief? Do they operate from that belief? Are they putting out content and conversations that are from that belief? Second, I'd encourage you to find someone that you resonate with, someone that is speaking a language that you appreciate, that is interesting to you, that gets you kind of excited. And then third, you want to have that alignment of personality. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this person isn't going to call you out or isn't going to push you so that you can be better. It's not necessarily about being comfortable all the time, but it's in a situation where you can show up and feel like you are ready to have this person help you achieve more out of your business and your career. And so by starting from this place of first an understanding of who you are and what you want, and then finding alignment with it, can be really, really, really helpful. The second thing that I recommend as a step is to really get clear on what you're willing to invest in yourself. One of the big mistakes I hear a lot of people make, and I've made it myself early on in my career, was a lot of people have this feeling that they're going to spend money on coaching and there's going to be a cost associated with it. They're thinking from a price perspective. And they think to themselves, well, I can't afford $1,000, let alone $10,000, let alone $30,000 or $50,000. The reason why that's a mistake is because it's coming from this perspective of cost versus investment. As an investor, as a business owner, you want to be thinking from things, what is my return on investment going to be? What's the ROI? And so when you can think from that perspective, you can come at it looking at the value that you're going to receive. If I'm able to shift my mind or shift my action or change this habit or change this belief, what's the outcome of that going to be? And what's really powerful is that in real estate and business, that outcome can be tens, if not hundreds, if not millions of dollars of potential upside. And so the ROI on coaching is typically 10, 20x when you're working with a great coach, and when you yourself are an action taker who's going to go be able to create great income. Now, a lot of people don't have the belief that they can actually go create that money early on, which is why they don't invest in coaching, or they believe cynically that they aren't going to get that much from it anyways. And so what ends up happening is either A, they don't take action, they don't hire the coach, or B, they hire them, but they never really show up to get the most out of it. And so what you got to do third is you got to be fully committed. And when you invest money in yourself, you usually show up looking to find that return on investment. And so with those three things, getting that alignment, getting clear on what you can invest, and then actually pulling the trigger and making a decision, you're going to be in such a better place to actually start gaining some momentum towards the things that you really want.
And I'm going to guess that if they go to your website and download this worksheet for the 5 success principles, this is going to probably provide them the guidance and get them in the proper mindset to see the value that you're suggesting.
Yeah. So if you go and download and review and work through some of these 5 success principles, and you start setting some habits for yourself to start making them a regular part of your life, yes, you're going to start to take some actions towards being able to be in alignment and ready to take on a coach. Now, a lot of people who end up, taking a look at something like this, they're just not really ready. They're not ready to invest in themselves or to move to another level. And to be frank, we work with a very select handful of people. So if you're super motivated, you really believe in your potential, you want to go to another level, then absolutely you can reach out to us and we can see if we can help. But at the core, it's beyond how we can personally serve you, even though the people we help, they have absolutely phenomenal results. But it's more about this idea that it's critical to have support and to go find that support and make sure that you have coaches around you who are going to help get you to that next level.
Yeah, what I typically have found is that when people participate in any type of coaching or mentorship type program, and they're concerned that it's going to fail them, it's usually that they're actually concerned that they're going to fail themselves, that they're not going to be the ones to take the necessary action in order to get this or see the benefit from it. That goes back to having that clarity again.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the reasons that people end up getting caught up and they don't really believe in themselves, so they don't take action, and not having the ability to take action means they don't have the opportunity to learn. And without that feedback, they can't take new action that's going to support them. And it really breaks this whole success loop or success cycle. But if you can start to have belief that it's possible for you to make big changes happen in your life, you can go find the resources that are going to help get you there. And you can start taking action and then taking the feedback from that and continuing to iterate on it. Great things can happen.
This kind of goes back to when you're doing real estate investing for the first time, and most people kind of start off with wholesaling because they've been told that that's the easiest bar of entry. And but in the end, it's not until you land that first deal or get that first property under contract, and then the following ones seem to get a little easier and easier. It's not that they all of a sudden are easier to find. It's that you now believe and you're more confident in the process and what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You become more confident, but you also you become more competent for sure, that you start learning some skills and understanding how to identify those things. But at the core, it's that confidence to be able to pull the trigger, to sign the contract, to be able to move things forward, to be able to talk with the seller, the buyer, or anybody in between. All of those things are critical. And you've got to start taking action before you ever get there, because you'll never get there just by reading a book or, learning some skill. You've actually got to go and apply it out in the world.
So, well, we're starting to run out of time, but before I let you go again, I want to make sure everybody has the Investor Mindset podcast. Make sure that you check that out. Then you can head over to theinvestormindset.com/success for that worksheet that Stephen has been talking about. But before I let you go, Stephen, I was hoping you could give those people that are locked in analysis paralysis right now and afraid to take that first step, what is the one thing that they could do right now to get moving?
The one thing you can do is make a decision, regardless of what it is. Decide to go this direction or to go that direction. because the fact that you're going to decide means that you're going to learn from whatever that outcome is. Most of the time, it comes down to simply deciding and then acting, because if you're stuck in analysis paralysis, you're not going to get out of it by analyzing something more. You need to choose a direction and you need to go forward.
And then lastly, is there a question you wished I would have asked you here today?
No, but I think the biggest thing I want people to take away from today's conversation is that there's a lot of different lessons that we've talked about in today's episode. And I encourage you to answer the same question after each episode that you listen to. But what I encourage you guys to do is ask yourself, what did I learn today? And what did I learn that can impact my life or my business? And then how am I going to apply that immediately? What action can I take today that's going to allow me to be able to move forward, to be able to start applying these new learnings so that I can start experiencing a better life?
I don't think I could have asked for a better way to end the show. I really appreciate your time, Stephen. This was great. Again, check out the podcast, The Investor Mindset. It's invaluable for people who are getting into investing, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
This has been the REI Mastermind Network. You can already tell that we've made some changes, and a few more are on the way. If you are interested in what we have planned, head over to patreon.com/REI Mastermind and support the show today. Financial contributions are always appreciated, along with a like, share, and review. It really helps us grow and reach more people with this valuable information. See you next time, and tell a friend.